Jared and Katie's best of the most haunted places in the Triad. Call us right now, 800-682-1075. First of all, I got a message from somebody that lives in Jamestown, and they said you can still drive under the bridge.
Oh, you can.
They've just created other roads around it. But
Got it.
The Lydia Bridge?
Lydia Bridge, yes.
And why is it the Lydia Bridge? Because that's where she was seen a lot?
Yeah, and I think Squid has information we'll get to in a second. But let's go to Shelley first. Shelley, you saw Lydia?
Ooh.
Well, we saw something. I grew up in Jamestown, and there's two bridges. There's the original Lydia Bridge that you can walk under, and they've just made it like a walking path through there.
Okay.
But there's like another bridge that you drive through, and it's been there for a long time. But we were driving under the bridge one day, and my friend's car has whatever the bells and whistles are that let you know something's in front of your car to avoid collision.
Mm-hmm.
And it started going off, and there was nothing in front of the car. So we were under Lydia's bridge, so I just grabbed my phone and started snapping pictures. And in the picture, you see orbs, and you see a blob that looks like a person. Now, whether it's coincidence or not, I don't know, but it scared us both pretty bad.
Were you
But
going,
I've heard
can I
lots
ask you
and lots
something?
of stories.
Were you going in there? Were
Yeah.
you going in that direction in search of Lydia the ghost, or were you just happy?
No, I go under that bridge on the daily.
Okay.
Well, that's not the bridge, though, is it?
Well, it's two bridges side by side.
Oh.
And
They're right next to each other.
yeah, so, I mean, she's either going to be hanging out in the woods or she's going to go up 30 feet and stand where cars will be.
So they're not that far.
I
They're
don't
not
know.
that far apart.
So when we're saying,
No, they're side by side.
yeah, so it's like the bridge that you could go under and then the bridge that you can go over on top. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's not
You know,
two
There's,
different.
there's train tracks on top.
Uh-huh.
It's like there was a little bridge that I don't know if you could, I guess you could drive through it. It looked pretty small. And then they made a bigger bridge beside it that 2 lanes of traffic could go through. And that's the one that, if you've ever been through Jamestown near Black Powder.
Oh, yeah, the restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bridge.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking
I
about.
don't know what that
Okay.
is. I'm
Yeah.
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 All right, I think we're getting
Yeah,
caught up
so
in
there's
the wrong part.
like a walking bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a little walking bridge beside it.
I got you.
They've just done a lot of construction to it, yeah.
Well, your friend had a fancy car that can detect ghosts. That's incredible.
That is
It is interesting
scary.
too. It's like, has Lydia been spotted lately, or is this all in the past?
Yeah, because I know we had people call years ago that like they picked up, they didn't know it was Lydia at the time, and then went to go drop her off and look in the back seat, no one's there.
Yeah.
Just from that bridge, and it said the same story. And it's a girl that was wearing a white dress.
Yeah, her long
all-
white nightgown.
Yeah, so it's like, whoa. Let's go to Amy. Where's the most haunted place in the Triad?
Madison Dry Goods
Oh.
in Madison, North Carolina.
Yes, I just got a text message from a friend about this one. And not only is this super haunted, but Netflix did the show or did their series about
Yes.
it too.
They did. That used to be a funeral home, and it's where the family of Charlie Lawson had their funeral service. He killed his family on Christmas Day.
Oh, gosh.
Oh. That's rough.
Is this a true
I think
story?
It is a true story. It happened in Germington, North Carolina.
And so then what do people, like when it's the haunted part, like what do they see? What do they hear?
Well, supposedly it's the ghost of the wife and the children and even Charlie himself that haunt the funeral home.
Man.
All right.
Which is now a dry goods store.
I got you.
Yes, but
Which is that store. And yeah, there was a documentary on Netflix, like the most haunted places in America, and it was like in the top 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Scary. Charlie Lawson killed himself and then his wife and his 6 children.
Okay, how about
That is awful.
Yeah.
let's plan, since we can't ever go to this the Conjuring place, which we want to go to. That's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
Why don't we stay there one night?
Sure. Let's go stay in Madison.
It's one of the most haunted places in the world.
What they say.
It's on Netflix. 28 Days Haunted is the name. 28 Days.
Let's ask them if we could stay there one night.
Let's set it up now for next year.
And then we could bring some wet goods in there to eat.
In the dry goods store.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine. That's incredible.
I can't wait
Yeah,
to
we
watch
should
it.
look that up. That would have been great for this year.
I know.
Well,
I never heard of it.
Can't win them all.
No.
We try.
We were going big with the Conjuring thing, and they're like, it costs money to go there? Like, yeah, like, no, you're not going. I'm like, okay. Let's go to McBride. McBride, where is the most haunted place in the Triad?
I don't know if it's something that, people can be able to walk through or anything like that. There's a group home that I used to work in Winston-Salem. And I used to work third shift there. And I would go from one end of the hall to the next. We had boys and girls there, so I'm keeping an eye on them. And I would sit in the middle of the hallway. And I'm sitting there because everything is like spooky quiet at night. You could hear children running across the floor upstairs in the attic. And I know my kids were in the bed because I'm doing room checks every 15 minutes.
Now, where is this at?
But you could hear children. It's in Winston-Salem. I'm not going to mention the name of the group home.
Oh, it's a group home.
It's in Winston-Salem. Yes. Rather large group home.
Mm-hmm. And so has
And also, but
we're having a little trouble
with
your phone. So was this place, is it known to be haunted, or is it just you feel like it's haunted?
No, it's known to be haunted. I mean, it was so haunted that we could hardly get staff to work in that part of the building.
Wow. Is there like a story
They
behind
would
it?
have. I did my own research, and there were several children that had died there. And so, like I said, it was so haunted. They had the maintenance guy to go look under the crawl space in the building, and they found Ouija boards and stuff like that under the crawl space in the building.
That is crazy.
I like it.
Oh.
Thank you, McBride. I appreciate that.
I wish I would have brought in my Ouija board today.
Oh, I would have to leave.
Really good.
Jared's not allowed to do that.
I'd have to leave the room.
I mean, you could just play along for fun.
Oh, that's what happens. Then Satan has your soul.
That
was so fun.
They say that, I know the whole Lydia thing is a big one, but, I don't know if that hasn't been seen in a while or people were just daydreaming or something.
And there's a Poptown one, too. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, really?
The Biltmore downtown has a haunting story to it, too. And if you call out the person's name in a certain room, apparently something happens. Now, if you talk to Josie that works here, no, she's already had dinner with the ghost, basically.
Facebook friends.
She, without a doubt, claims that she has seen things, without a doubt, something to do with the tub or something like that, where it either turns on or she's dead serious at the Biltmore, and there's a big story behind it too.
I believe in the spirits like that you could feel them, wandering around. I think it also, for the one at the Biltmore downtown in Greensboro, I think it also has something to do with the staircase.
Yes,
like the
someone
back
died
staircase.
back there.
Yeah, or somebody got pushed down the stairs, and they say that if you're walking down, that you should always use the handrail because you might feel a push from behind.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always kind of creeped me out, but I've never felt anything in any of the rooms.
I have never felt any type of presence or ghost in my life. Now, when me and Carol, when we went on a little weekend getaway, we went to Charleston. They say Charleston has a lot of haunted places. I guess anything old.
And Savannah, too.
Yeah, old town has haunted places. So we decided to do a ghost tour. So they have this meeting spot you all go to. That's where I got my big trunk cut out, and I had to carry it around with me. But anyways,
oh my God.
we had to.
Can't take you anywhere.
No, it was years ago. But anyways.
Yeah, you carried it with you on the ghost tour. That is so spooky.
Anyways, we're on this ghost tour, and they're taking us to all these places that look haunted and haunted. Y'all had to meet up at this one spot, and we keep walking and walking and walking and walking. And the guy says, by the end, we're going to take you to the most haunted place in the country. That's their claim. In South Carolina, by far, the most haunted. At the very end, he goes, all right, this way we walk. It's the hotel we're staying at. We were staying at the hotel. It's the most haunted place in the world.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. And there was this big story about this big fire and soldiers were there, and there was half the place melted down. A bunch of soldiers died and all this other stuff. You didn't ever feel anything? Maybe because I was drinking or too tired. Never, ever, ever did I.
Okay.
And there was another one in Texas I stayed at that the help, you asked the cleaning people, they got scared at certain things you said.
Didn't we think that there was maybe some haunting or something going on here at the radio station?
Yes.
Where you can
there's
hear
rumors.
people
so.
hear things?
Yeah, every once in a while you hear, if nobody's in this building. Like we had somebody that used to work here that used to clean up late at night. He swore that somebody was here. But every once in a while in this building, if nobody's in here, you hear people walking and stuff. But
Play my song.
Play my song.
We just did. Wow. Savannah is also a great place for ghost
Yeah.
tours.
So
I
good.
went on one this past summer. It was at night, and it was still 95 degrees and max humidity. But the backstory is what makes it interesting. They're
The
like,
history, I
in
love
this
it.
house, the father went nuts and he murdered the kid. And you're like, oh my gosh! And then they explain what happens. The only problem with that ghost tour was the girl that was doing it tried too hard. She showed up. She looked like she had just got. I mean, she was wearing like a AC/DC shirt and then like a flannel shirt tied around her waist. I'm like, it's like 95 degrees. And she looked like kind of gothish in a way, kind of, but not spooky. And she's like, hey, y'all, welcome to Savannah. and when she was done the tour, she's like, all right, thank you guys for coming. She didn't talk that way. It was so over the top.
Why?
Now, in this house, this soldier was killed. And she, like, the whole time. And then she'd make these jokes about people dying. That the first one was funny, but she kept doing it. I'm like, all right, you're making it not spooky.
Yeah.
It was so over the top. Like she was pretending. Like if she was dressed like somebody from Savannah or like was in character, but she just showed up like wearing what Squid wears to work, and then I'm like, I don't think so.
What's this ghost in? But
it was
said Poptown.
I don't know.
There's some bridge in Poptown. I know me and Josh that used to work here in the box went up there, and they had something where if you put baby powder on your bumper, that you go back and there'd be like handprints, like somebody pushing your car forward, and it was a ghost that did that. Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
And were there any handprints?
Handprints?
There was like a middle finger.
Oh. Well,
And then
that's accurate.
I don't know.
That was me.
We made a joke, like I think he photoshopped our faces on the bumper or whatever, but
It's the Legend of Payne Road.
Payne Road,
That's right.
yes.
Yep, I've definitely heard of that one.
So Squid, you looked up the Lydia thing? If you've the most haunted place in the Triad, if you have any story about Lydia or anything like that.
If you've ever seen Lydia, don't be afraid to call in. Some people are dead serious they've seen it. I really want to critique them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 1920, supposedly around 1920, there was a car crash, and a girl named Lydia was in it, supposedly died. And that's the original bridge that is no longer in commission, but you can still walk under. Then they built a new bridge, which is solely for the train, but a car does go beneath it. And so there's been multiple sightings at both locations. And the first sighting was around 1924, and they've been going on since.
Since when, though? I mean, since, like, as of lately?
This is just the history. I'm looking at the history of it, but let me see the last.
Is it
one.
just that her soul was not put
it was
to
written.
rest?
This article was written in 2019.
Okay.
Okay.
There was some kind of come together with. There was a few people investigating this story, and something happened where they came together. It was like not necessarily a family member, but there was some creepy way, and then like they started dating or something kind of weird.
Oh my gosh.
Love finds a way.
It's also a good excuse.
Love finds a way, even through the creepy.
Your wife catch you with a prostitute. Like, no, it's Lydia's ghost.
No,
I was giving a ghost a ride. No. Let's go to Amy. Amy, you have a Lydia story?
I do. It was probably about 15 years ago. Some friends and I decided to, go try to find Lydia. And you have to park on the side of the road, like if you're coming from Greensboro, before you get to the bridge that's there now. And it's like a short walk out kind of through the woods to where the old bridge is. And we went out there. It was during the day. We didn't go at night. Well, we tried to go at night once, and the police pulled up. So we went during the day this time. And we went out there, and we were walking around, and I didn't really get that creepy of a feeling. Now, this was before everybody had a camera phone, so we took some pictures out there. There's a couple of, like, places where it's graffiti on the bridge where it says Lydia's here and things like that. And we took pictures, and in several of the pictures, there's, like, a tall white mist standing beside me. So it was kind of creepy.
That's
right,
proof
thank you
enough
very
for me,
much.
don't you think? I mean,
no, that is not proof
Yes.
enough. I want if you actually seen her.
Listen, you're not going to get scientific proof. I mean, that's
but
like
a
the whole
mist?
thought about that. Yes, because so many people have that happening in their photos,
Yeah,
like
but they're saying-
orbs or
There's people that say they actually picked her up and brought her somewhere.
maybe they did.
We had calls with it, but I think a former intern erased all of them.
Yeah.
We used to, I remember people called in and they had specific what she looked like, what she sounded like, what she said. Let's go to Lisa. Lisa, where's the most haunted place in the Triad?
So I don't know if anybody really knows about this place. My dad's friend actually used to live there. It's on Union Ridge Road in Burlington. It used to be a prison back in like the 1800s. And us as kids, we went down in the basement, which we weren't supposed to because it was dangerous. But we found like old metal shackles hanging on the walls and stuff. And I swear we used to hear people walk in. Well, they went to tear this place down, like maybe 20 years ago, and they were taking it apart brick by brick, and people kept dying. So now that house just still stands there, half taken apart, looking like a creepy place, trees growing up through the middle of it and everything, because nobody will touch it now.
Let's stay there one night.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, gosh.
Man, I used to sleep there. I used to sleep there as a kid, and it was I never slept. I would always just lay there and look around, like what's coming at me.
Union
It
Ridge
was
Road
the
in
creepiest
Burlington.
place.
Oh, sorry, Union Ridge Road.
Yeah, it even had like an old laundry chute, and we put one of the kids down through there, and that's how we found the shackles, actually, because it went down to the basement.
That's like a scary movie.
Yes, it is. Who? Nobody volunteered for that. So what did that kid do to you? You made him go down there?
The youngest?
Oh, yeah. Me and him were the youngest, and I was a girl, so we put the boy down there.
That's like a scene from like thank you very
Wow.
much, from like Goonies, or from what's the show with the girl from Kernersville?
Outer Banks?
Outer Banks,
Oh.
where it's like they fall down something, they find treasure, they find something
Yes.
bizarre.
You know what's scary about that, though, is what she's talking so long ago, they didn't even have phones. So if something happened, they can't even call.
No, you're just out of luck.
That's
Somebody has to go
awful.
run and get help. Lauren, you have info on Lydia. We're looking for the most haunted places in the Triad, but Lydia, the Jamestown ghost?
Yes, I actually got to meet with an author a few years ago. He's actually recently passed away. His name was Michael Renniger. He did research on this for many years and actually found out that Lydia, it happened on prom night, but they don't think she was actually going to prom. She was much older. I think she was closer to her 30s. There were 4 people in the car the night she died. And the reason I found out more information is I found out that my great-grandmother was actually in the car with her that night.
No way.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes, I ran across a story News 2 shared actually Halloween a few years ago. And so I was just reading about Lydia's Bridge, and I recognized the name. I was like, oh my gosh, that's my great-grandmother's name. So I'd done a little research, contacted him, and come to find out, it was my great-grandmother. She was in the car, and he says that they were actually up to no good that night from the research he found. He published a book. You can buy it on Amazon. There's a few places in Jamestown that sell it as well. And come to find out, they were with 2 men that night, and the 2 men were actually very well-known bootleggers. And they were just up to no good apparently that night, but my grandmother was actually injured in that car wreck, injured her left leg, and then, God, I don't even know how many years, 50, 60 years later, my grandmother actually passed away from injuries, gangrene, due to the car wreck many years later.
My.
Wow. Now,
But yeah, his name was Michael Renniger, and his sister's his co-author, and they did a lot of research, and she is still local to the Jamestown area.
and did your grandmother believe in the ghost?
The funny part is she never told anyone anything that happened. Our family never knew anything about it. My grandmother, my grandpa, everybody, her siblings, her siblings kind of were more quiet about it, but her kids never knew anything. She never told anyone. And before I got too busy researching it, the author's like, I just want to let you know, I think she was up to no good that night. So your grandmother and, her siblings or her kids, they may not want to know what really happened and what she was doing that night. I think she was with a married man. I was like, oh, they don't care. We just, we want to know what's going on.
Oh, I see.
So we think that's kind of why she never said anything.
I got you.
Also, it's traumatic.
But once we
yeah.
researched it,
You
once we researched it, we found out she was actually in the car with her that night, or who they think was Lydia that night.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you, Lauren, so much.
And somebody said this is. I think that girl I saw. She was referring to that News 2 story about the guy, the researcher. I didn't realize he passed away. I thought they said that Lydia wasn't even her real name at one point.
I don't know. Let's go to Brandon. Where's the most haunted place in the Triad?
I don't know. I wish I knew. Just called in because you guys were talking about a place about putting some powder on the backside of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Where did you say that was at?
Payne Road in Pofftown? Or Payne Road?
Okay. I'll have to check that out. I was thinking about a place called Gravity Hill. Have you heard of that? It's in Richfield, North Carolina. It's a little bit south of High Rock Lake.
What happens there?
But it's kind of the same thing. You go there, you put your vehicle in neutral, and it's like children's handprints show up on the trunk of your trunk, and they're pushing you uphill to get you out of there or whatever. So But yeah, it just made me think of that. I wasn't sure if it was the same location or not, but it's way off.
It's a different one, and there's some other people calling in about Gravity Hill as well. Very interesting.
That is odd.
Why has it got to be like little kids' hands?
That's got to be a scientific.
Can't it just be old, adult hands? It's gotta be
I think
kids.
it was something like a group of kids died, and they're like pushing the car to try to save your car to make sure
you get out of there okay?
Yeah.
Interesting. Brandy, you had a family member pick up Lydia, the Jamestown ghost?
Yeah, one of my family members, he wasn't from around here, so literally he had no clue about any of that, and he was driving through Jamestown one night and said he saw her and stuff, and he was like, what's wrong with this girl? So he picked her up, and so she was trying to get home. Like, I guess, I don't know what happened with the whole story, but she was trying to get home. So he was like, well, where do you live? And stuff. He tried to get her home, and then, like, when he pulled up at the house that she pointed to, he said he looked in the back seat, she was gone. And it freaked him out. Like, he didn't, and then he ended up going to research it, and then he realized that was Lydia's Bridge and stuff, and he researched the history behind it. But when he moved, he had no clue about it, so he said it was super creepy. He said she was like a normal human. She just got in the car and was talking to him and saying that she was needing to get home, that she got dropped off on the side of the road, and so he was like, okay, well, I'll take you home. Where do you live? And he showed her how to get there, and he pulled up at this creepy-looking house. Like, I don't even know where it's at in Jamestown, but he dropped her off, and he said he was trying to talk to her, and he looked up in the rearview mirror, and there was nobody in his backseat.
That is creepy.
Yes,
and that's
it
a
is.
similar story that we've heard from multiple people that picked her up. Take me to the house. They go to the house. They look back. She's not there. Did he describe what she was wearing or no?
He said she had the white dress on and stuff, and he said, but he said he couldn't really, he couldn't see her face. He said because it's dark outside, and of course, he's trying to drive or whatever, but he said he just pulled up, and he was going to talk to her and ask her, who she was and stuff, and he looked up, and there was nobody in his back seat. It was gone, and he was like, what in the world? Like, he didn't, and I said he had just moved here, so he didn't even know anything about Lydia or anything about that, so he just thought she was a normal human.
I wonder if anybody thinks it's weird that she just always gets in the back seat. Do you know what I mean? Like, why does she think it's an Uber?
Maybe.
I mean, like, she gets in the back every time.
Right.
Wouldn't you think that would be weird?
I wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker and put him in the front seat with me. You crazy?
I wouldn't pick up a hitchhike. Well, that's not true. I did one time in Boone. But, I just think it's, whatever.
If you're going to do it, you put him in the back.
I was, maybe so. Maybe because we got so used to Uber. But
yes.
Matt, when I was a low man in the totem pole like Squid is on the show, we were giving away Pussycat doll tickets. Hot ticket at the time.
Yes.
And there's the way to get it. I had to dress up like a Pussycat doll singer. And then I was basically wearing lingerie and had to be on the side of the road and had somebody pick me up. And I sat in the front seat.
That's where I would go.
I ain't no ghost.
Well, I mean, you can't tell what's going on, what they're doing in the back seat. At least you can keep an eye on the person in the front.
It's a lot easier for them to reach over and stab you in the front.
It's a lot easier for them to grab you from behind, you don't know, and choke you to death.
With a piano wire or something.
No, they sit behind the passenger seat. They're going to have to lean over. You're going to see that coming and duck.
I didn't know there was all these rules of picking up hitchhikers.
The one rule is don't do it.
I thought don't do it.
Just don't do it.